Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Audio Fanfics and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto built the ultimate shinobi harem, Temari, Shizune, Anko, Hinata, Kurama, Kurenai, Mabui, Yakumo and Tenten Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Hokage-sama, why haven't I been informed about the new student and the change to the teams? Iruka asked, in anger. Iruka, calm down. Why are you upset about a new student and what change? Hiruzen asked. Iruka raised an eyebrow and handed him a sheet of paper. Hiruzen went to read the report and his eye started to flare, scaring the Chunin. I didn't authorize this. The Kami Forsaken Council must have done this. I gave them too much power but no more. Anbu, send in the advisors. We need to talk. Iruka, you stay. After a few minutes, Danzo, Homura and Kaharu appeared in the Hokage office. What is the meaning of this Sarutobi? Kaharu asked. That's Hokage-sama to you. Hiruzen yelled. The three flinched and bowed. Now, tell me why Jonin Naruto Uzumaki was replaced by a Sai. I had never seen this student before and Naruto completed the requirement. Also, why wasn't I authorized? Danzo stepped forward. I sent him, since I trained him myself and to keep an eye on the Uchiha. Since the Jinchuriki had the lowest score, I authorized the change. With this, I can keep an eye on the Uchiha and make sure he doesn't betray the village. Stop with your lies, you targeted Naruto personally. You ruined his future because of your pettiness. Because of this, I realized I gave you too much power but no more. The civilian councils are no longer allowed to make shinobi-based decisions. You will manage the funding and politics of the village. Now leave. The advisor grumbled but left. Sir, what are we going to do about Naruto? He worked so hard and after the incident with Mizuki, he deserves this. He's on the monument right now. He suffered so much already, he deserves a chance. Iruka asked. I don't know, Kami, please give me a sign. Hiruzen asked. Then there was a knock on the door. When it opened, Hiruzen was surprised to see one of his students with a teenage girl. Hey sensei, we're back. Tsunade said, walking in with what seems to be a younger version of herself. It's good to see you, Tsunade-chan. Who's this with you? Tsunade turned to the teenager and smirked. Introduce yourself. Nice to meet you, Hokage-sama. My name is Mito Senju. Mito, 14 years old, said, causing Iruka and Hiruzen's eyes to widen. Mito studied the two men in the room. You're right, he does look like a pervert, Ka-chan. And the Chunin looks kinda like a rule pansy. Hiruzen ignored the insult. How do you have a daughter and who's the father? Tsunade rubs her temples. I guess the pervert didn't tell you. He's the father but I don't want to talk about it. I'm here to register Mito as a kunoichi. Are we late? Sadly you are, unless you want to take her up as an apprentice. We have no more teams available. Hiruzen informs the slug mistress. We were actually discussing a situation with one of our genin. The council replaced him with a stranger, stopping him from joining a team because of their hatred for the boy. Tsunade's right eyebrow rose. Why do they hate him? What's his name? Naruto Uzumaki. Hiruzen answered. Tsunade froze and was trembling, while Mito gave her mother a look. Ka-chan, I thought you said he was dead. Matu said. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes. What do you mean he's dead? Hiruzen asked. An Anbu appeared to me 14 years ago and said Naruto and his family died. I was supposed to be his godmother for Kushina. Wait, do they hate him because he's a Jinchuriki? That explains why the fox disappeared. Damn, I'm stupid. What do you mean? And does your daughter? Hiruzen asked. Tsunade confirmed with a nod. You see, It's not common knowledge, but Uzumakis are the only ones who can hold a fox. If anyone else tries, they'll die and the fox will break free. Mito knows about Jinchurikis, so I told her about her great-grandmother and her aunt Kushina. Enough of that. Why was I informed about Naruto's death? I never sent an Anbu to inform you, but I have a theory. Danzo, he's been trying to get his hands on Naruto and turn him into his personal weapon. I bet that's one of the reasons he sabotages Naruto's team announcement. Tsunade gritted her teeth. She never was a fan of the War Hawk. He was so conniving and always power greedy. I see. Well, I have a solution that'll benefit us. With Naruto. Naruto was sitting on the edge of the Hokage monument, staring at his headband. How am I going to become Hokage? Sign I should have known no one would want to train me. I'm just a demon to everyone. It was bad enough he wasn't on a team, but the fact that half the class laughed at him was even worse. He remembers the insults. I knew the dead last didn't make it. HMMPH, loser. You'll never be as good as Sasuke-kun. You just give, you're nothing but an idiot. Kiba, Sasuke, Sakura and Ino hit him hard. I'll show them somehow. Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to see Neko behind. Hokage-sama wants you in his office. It's good news, so cheer up. You look better when you smile. Neko said before disappearing. Naruto headed towards the Hokage office, and when he entered he saw everyone there smiling at him. Hey Gigi, how are you? Naruto said, with forceful happiness. Mito analyzed Naruto and blushed. He's cute and he has beautiful eyes. Naruto-kun, I would like you to meet your new sensei and teammate. Hiruzen said. Naruto's face turned to pure happiness. He's right, Gaki, but first I'd like you to take a couple tests. I don't want a loudmouth baka on my team. Tsunade said. That won't be necessary. Naruto files are here. Hiruzen said. He handed Naruto tests and homework to Tsunade. She went through the paperwork and gave Iruka and Hiruzen a look of disbelief. Did you two go through this? Tsunade asked the Chunin and Hiruzen. No, Tsunade-sama. Why? What's the matter? Iruka asked. These tests said he failed. But the answers are right. He has a 100 on most of these. Why did rank dead last? Tsunade asked. Well, the other instructors graded his test and he never showed interest in class, Iruka said. Because every time I ask for help, I'm ignored. Whenever I do anything, I'm kicked out of class. And those stupid teachers always try to trick me. Naruto said, folding his arms and pouting. Tsunade narrowed her eyes and she understood. I'm going to take a guess and say 90% of the village hates Naruto-kun, including some Chunins. You two were stupid enough to trust people who detest Naruto-kun, to treat him fairly. Iruka and Hiruzen looked down in shame. I enforced a law to make sure Naruto was treated fairly. And it didn't work. Tsunade added in. Well, Naruto had trouble with the Bunshin Jutsu, so he wasn't perfect. Iruka added in. Tsunade turned to Hiruzen and narrowed her eyes. You didn't tell them. Iruka looked confused. Tsunade noticed and signed. Naruto chakra levels are too high for that pathetic jutsu. He's an Uzumaki and a Jinchuriki. Uzumaki and Senju are born with high level and dense chakra at the level of a cage. Naruto being the host of the Kyuubi adds more to his reserve. Him learning Bunshin is like pouring a waterfall into a tiny cup. How can you hide his heritage from him? I swear to Kami, this village is hindering him. Hiruzen looked down in shame. He never thought about that. Kushina had the same problem and he forgot about Uzumaki's chakra reserves. Iruka never knew. He then realized the academy was hindering Naruto. That explains how he learned the Kage Bunshin. Tsunade smirked. He already knows the Kage Bunshin. Excellent, that means he is a diamond in the rough. Anyway, I'll be taking these two with me. Where do you live? Naruto-kun. In the red distract. Naruto answered nonchalantly. Tsunade punched the wall and looked at Hiruzen. Naruto-kun is moving in with me, I'm not asking. This village obviously cannot be trusted with their idiocy. I will shape him up in 2 weeks and go from there. Naruto, come with me. We're moving your things to my complex while getting to know each other. Plus no student of mine is going to be wearing a hideous jumpsuit. Naruto was about to protest but he met Tsunade's glare and shut up. Mito walked up to Naruto and grabbed his hand. Well, let's go. 2 days later, Naruto had moved into Tsunade home, with the protest of the apartment owner. Tsunade had also found out that Naruto was banned from most stores and those that allowed him to enter overcharged him. Hiruzen and Tsunade rectify this and get all his money back and a couple free things, like Naruto's new outfit. He was wearing a thin blue vest and blue long sleeves with an orange Uzumaki symbol on his shoulder. He had black cargo pants with orange lines going down the side and fingerless gloves. Mito wore her hair in a high ponytail. She wore a gray mesh shirt with a teal kimono and a red sash and high heel sandals. Mito got to know Naruto a little better. There were pros and cons about her fellow blonde. As a man, he had everything she wanted. A good heart, determination, a will to never give up, and if she was honest, he was quite cute. The cons were, he had no manners and was quite loud. But she knew it was because he craved attention and he grew up alone. Tsunade became really attached to the blonde like a real mother. When she learned of his past and informed him of the relationship, at first he didn't want to have anything to do with her. But when he learned about her past and she was tricked by an unknown Anbu, he forgave her, knowing how the village hated him. Naruto started calling her Nei-chan, unknowing to him on how old she is. Today was the day they began their training. First, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Tsunade Senju. I like sake, my daughter, my little brother, and being a medic nin. I hate perverts and people who disrespect the people I care about. Hobbies are playing cards, creating new medic jutsu, and gambling. My dream is to establish a division to create more medics and train you too so you can accomplish your dreams. Your turn, Mito-chan. I'm Mito Senju. I like dumplings, art and training. I hate stuck-up people, and perverts. Hobbies are shopping and creating new techniques. My dream is to surpass my great-grandfather in every category and have a family. Naruto smiled and nodded. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like pranking, ramen, training, Mito-chan, Tsunade-sensei and Shizune-chan. I don't like how everyone made fun of me for not being on a team and the villagers glaring at me. My dream is to surpass the 4th and become the Hokage. Tsunade's eyes widened but frowned. She lost 2 people with the same dream, but something about Naruto made her believe in him. Okay, Naruto. I hate to say this, but you're behind, but you can catch up pretty fast. The village screwed you over, but I'm about to correct that. You see, as I told you before, you're part of the Uzumaki clan and possibly the Senju clan. The Uzumakis was Fuinjutsu and ninjutsu specialists, while Senjus were ninjutsu and medic specialist. Mito, you already started your medic training and refined your chakra control. I'll give you some scrolls for your ability later. Naruto, we're going to work on your chakra control, get you started on Fuinjutsu, find out your chakra nature and teach you taijutsu. How am I going to learn all this in 2 weeks? Naruto asked. Easy. Our signature jutsu. The Kage Bunshin is used for information gathering and training. They transfer everything but muscle memory to the original. Your clones will study Fuinjutsu, practice chakra control and whatever affinity you have. I'm going to place weight and resistance seals on you. You are also going to have the 100 healing techniques on your forehead. Tsunade pulled out a sheet of paper and handed it to Naruto. Pour some chakra into the paper and it'll let us know your affinity. Naruto nodded and poured some chakra into the slip. The paper split in half, then one side got super soaked and the other side crystallized. Tsunade's eyes widened before she smirked. The council, ha ha ha. Naruto-kun, you have a bloodline. Cool, I'm just awesome. So I learn a super cool jutsu, Naruto said. Calm down, loudmouth. You're not the only one. Mito has one too, and we have to work on the basics, even though we're going to cheat. Tsunade said. That's right. But I'm going to ask Shizune for medic training if that's okay with you, sensei. Mito asked. Naruto liked Shizune. She had this calm feeling about her and she treated him better than even the Hokage. Naruto always felt happy around her. That's fine, it'll give me time to have Naruto-kun catch up. Tsunade responded. Tsunade pondered something. Maybe you could learn my super strength and add a little speed to it. So what do I do first, Tsunade-sensei? Naruto asked. Well, first make about 30 kage bunshin. Naruto did what he was told and made 30 clones. Tsunade made 6 clones. Now each of you take 5. One of you trains them to water walking, tree walking, one help him study his fuinjutsu, one teach him his wind manipulation, one water and the last earth. Each of the Tsunade clones nodded and took 5 of Naruto clones. Tsunade turned to the original and smiled. Now I'm going to place some weight seals and chakra limiter seals on you. Then we are going to do some workout exercise and spar to find a good taijutsu style for you. We will be doing D-rank missions after we train, 15 a day using clones because I already can't stand these civilians for how they treat you, Naruto-kun. The week after, we'll take C ranks and very little D ranks. Naruto, you have the potential of all the cages combined. I know you think being a shinobi is fun, but it's dangerous and I want you to be serious when I train you. The first and second Hokage were ninjutsu and kenjutsu masters, the third was an element master and the fourth was a fuinjutsu. I lost people I care about who had the same dream as you, but they never accomplished it. She took off her necklace and put it around Naruto's neck. You have the same dream, I will make it happen, but please be careful. Naruto felt something he never felt before, loved. Someone cared for him and he felt a new drive. He didn't know why, but he didn't want to let his sensei cry. He turned to his sensei and gave her a foxy smile. I promise I will not die until I become Hokage. Tsunade smiled and saw an image of her little brother in Naruto. She moved his headband and kissed his forehead. Naruto blushed. I know you will. Now let's get started. 2 weeks later, Naruto and Mito progressed rather fast the past 2 weeks. Just like Naruto, Mito also had high reserves, even though not as much as her fellow blonde since she's not a Jinchuriki. Naruto decided to learn Muay Thai, Mito learned a different variation of the strong fist. Naruto chakra control shot up after the first 3 days. He was still learning wind element manipulation, but earth and water was slightly easier. He learned a couple techniques from his shodan, as crystal release, which comprises wind, water and earth. Mito learned more Iryo ninjutsu and water, fire and earth manipulation. She also learned some Mokuden jutsu from Senju scrolls. In the current skill set, Naruto was low B rank in taijutsu, A rank in ninjutsu, medical was C rank, B rank in fuinjutsu and non-existent in genjutsu. Mito was B rank in taijutsu, A rank in ninjutsu, medical is A rank and C rank genjutsu. Right now Naruto was showing Mito around the village, to her request. Tsunade refused to leave her compound and decided to rest after a whole 2 weeks of training. So Naruto-kun, do you have any other friends besides yours truly? Mito asked. Not really, I mean there's Sakura, huh? Naruto stopped. What? Usually when I think about Sakura, I get all happy, but I haven't thought about her recently, wonder why. Naruto thought and looked at Mito, A blush adorned his face. Mito noticed and smirked. Oh, so that's it. Haha, I'm so going to milk this in. Mito thought to herself. Anyway, Sakura is a girl I used to like. She has a crush on the Tem and usually screams her lungs out and always hitting me for stupid reason. I already don't like her, and who's Tem? That's what I call Sasuke, because he's a Uchiha. He's cold to everyone and insults me all the time. Sakura is one of his fangirls. Naruto explained. So he has more? Mito asked. Yeah, one acts like a spoiled princess. Her name is Ino and she's not as violent as Sakura, but she is bitchy. She talks like she knows everything. I feel sorry for her teammates Choji and Shikamaru. Those two used to hang out with me until recently. Shikamaru is lazy and thinks everything is troublesome. Choji loves to eat, but he's also a very nice guy as long as you don't call him fat. Naruto said. Cool. Anyone else? Mito asked. Well, there's Hinata's team. Hinata is a weird girl who always passes out in front of me and her face always turns red. Naruto said. Mito narrowed her eyes at the statement. Looks like I have competition. Mito thought to herself. What about her team? Well, there's Kiba, but I would stay away from him unless you want to hit something. He thinks of himself as an alpha male, also considering how beautiful you are. He'll probably try to hit on you. Mito blushed at the compliment but forced it down. And the last one is Shino. He's always quiet, but he does talk to me from time to time. Naruto said. Mito put a finger on her chin. From what I gathered, Choji, Hinata and Shino are the only tolerable ones. Everyone else sounds like a pain. Naruto chuckled but was interrupted by both of their stomachs growling. Guess I'm hungry. Where do you feel like eating? Naruto said. Well, Ka-chan said the barbecue was good. Naruto nodded and led her to Akamichi's barbecue. But he would soon realize that was a mistake as he walked in the restaurant. Hey, it's the failure. Naruto looked at the source of the voice and saw the whole graduate genin, including Sasuke. Before Naruto could say anything, Mito grabbed his shoulder and whispered in his ear. Remember what Ka-chan taught us about being taunted? Naruto nodded and turned to Kiba. Not that it matters, but we're just getting something to eat. The group turned to Mito and was surprised to see Naruto with a girl. Sakura and Ino scooted closer to Sasuke, thinking they had more competition. Sakura narrowed her eyes on Naruto. It's sad you come all the way here to stalk me, Baka. Can you just leave me alone? Naruto tilted his head in confusion. Why would I care where you are? In fact, for the past week, I haven't even thought about you nor your massive forehead. The Genin group was shocked. Naruto just insulted Sakura, his crush. Mito laughed her off before speaking. Okay, I'm going to guess your name's based on Naruto-kun's description. You Pinky, I'm guessing you're Sakura. Sakura nodded. Wow, you are loud and sound like a monkey. Sakura was seething with anger and went to punch the male blonde, but Mito caught her fist. Not while I'm here. She shoved Sakura back. She then looks at Sasuke. Oh, the stick in my look. You're Sasuke, and the blondie next to you is Ino. You're definitely a fangirl. I can tell that you're weak. Ino stood up and folded her arms. At least I have better taste in men. I mean, I'm glad Naruto got rid of the orange, but he's still a failure. If you want to save face, you'll stay away from him. Ino said in a matter-of-fact tone. Mito studied Ino. Wow. Spoiled bitchy attitude check. Ino fumed at the remark. Let's see. You must be Choji and Shikamaru. Mito said, pointing to Akamichi and Nara. Naruto was right. You got muscle. Choji blushed. He said that. Thanks, Naruto. Naruto nodded, even though it was lying. Kiba walked up to Mito and introduced himself. Did the loser talk about me? I bet he told you how amazing I am. He was right. Mito said. Kiba smirked. thinking good things were said. You're a hormonal pervert, who needs to make others feel down about themselves to make himself look good. Kiba's face fell. Mito approached Hinata. You're Hinata. Let's be friends. She then bent down to Hinata's ear. I'll help you get close to Naruto-kun. Hinata blushed a storm. Mito winked at the Hyuga and turned to Shino. And you're Shino, love the shades. Shino nodded. Sakura decided to voice a question. And who do you think you are, insulting us? Mito turned to the Pinkett and folded her arms. Stop yelling, and you don't need to know. I've come to the conclusion that half of y'all are pathetic. Only Hinata, Shino, Shikamaru and Choji are worth anything. The unnamed glared at the Senju heiress. Pissed, the only pathetic one is the Dobi. You may not know this, but he's the dead last of the academy. Sasuke finally spoke. Did I ask for your opinion, Uchiha? No. Then shut the hell up. Mito said, surprising the fangirls. No girl ever spoke to Sasuke like that. How dare you speak to Sasuke-kun like that? Ino and Sakura yelled in unison. Hey, what's with the noise? The genin turned to the door and saw Kurenai, Asuma and Kakashi walk in. Kakashi didn't look up from his book. Asuma kept staring at Kurenai and Kurenai gave Mito a passive look, but when she looked at Naruto, she narrowed her eyes in disgust, which didn't go unnoticed by the two blondes. These two came in here and interrupted our lunch. Naruto was bad-mouthing us. Kiba answered. Kurenai looked at her student and back at Naruto. Naruto, it's not nice to talk about people, so apologize. Mito covered Naruto's mouth. He doesn't need to apologize. He gave an accurate description about them and I guessed their names based on that. They're just mad. Plus Naruto-kun has people talking behind his back all the time, so the big baby can handle it. Mito said. Kakashi looked up from his book and analyzed Mito. She looked familiar to him but he couldn't put his finger on it. And who are you if you don't mind me asking? Kakashi asked. Mito turned to the Cyclops and glared at the book. I only tell my name to people I respect. Not two perverts and someone who can't see past their hatred. Hey, you can't talk to our senseis like that. Sakura walked around the table and was about to hit Mito until Naruto caught her wrist, giving it a light squeeze. Don't lay a hand on her. Naruto said in a threatening tone. The genin flinched at the small amount of ki. Naruto, you need to control yourself. This is why you weren't selected on a team. Kakashi said. So the howler monkey is free to hit us but I get punished for defending my friend? Naruto asked. And you blondie, I'm not sure who you are but in this village we respect our superiors, so apologize now. Asuma said, grabbing Mito's wrist. The moment he touched her, both Naruto and Mito chakra flared around them blowing everyone away. The Jonin eyes widened but not only because it was visible. Because of the amount and density. They have more chakra than us in this pressure. The two blondes stopped and were glaring at the Jonin. Mito decided to speak. Let's get something straight. Besides Hinata-san, Choji-san, Shikamaru-san and Shino-san. I don't like any of you. Ever since me and Ka-chan arrived in this village, all I have seen was hate and stupidity. And the genin are so arrogant, it is pathetic besides the four I mention. You three need to control your students. How dare you? Kurenai said. How dare I? I saw a look in your eye. The hatred for Naruto-kun, you're the same like the villagers. Cyclops here can't even stop reading that perverted book for a second and Smokey keeps staring at your assets. Kurenai and Asuma blushed, while Kakashi shrugged. Mito-chan, how about we go get some ramen instead? Naruto offered to grab her hand. She accepted and they left the restaurant. Kurenai-sensei. Is it true? You hate Naruto-kun? Hinata asked gently. Kurenai felt guilty and signed. Later that night, when Naruto and Mito arrived home, they explained how their day went and everything that went on at the barbecue place to Tsunade and Shizune. Shizune looked down in disappointment and Tsunade was seething, but it turned to a smirk. So they think Naru-kun is weak and a failure, huh? We'll look like we have to kick your training into overtime. This village and their stupidity. Well, don't worry, you'll show everyone. Time to learn more Iryo Jutsu and Jutsus for your bloodlines, you too. This village will not stop us. Shizune nodded in agreement. All help as well, Naruto-kun, Mito-san. Shizune said, putting a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Mito put her hand on the other one. 1 month later. In the next month, Team 11 completed a total 150 D rank missions and 5 C rank missions. Their skills are improved even more. Instead of teaching them new jutsus, they decided to master the ones they knew. They both learned D, B rank Doden and Sweden released Judas. Naruto learned some Futon jutsus and Mito learned some Kaden jutsus. They even learned some combinations with their attacks. They also learned and created some techniques of their own thanks to their clones, but they still had room to grow. Mito affinities are fire, earth and water. Naruto's are wind, earth and water. If Tsunade had to rate their skills, they would be high Chunin to low Jonin. Another plus was their body improving, especially Naruto's now that he was eating healthy. Naruto's Fuinjutsu had improved and he was the fastest of the two, close to matching his father's thanks to the training seals, but Mito definitely inherited her mother's strength. They were headed towards the tower for another mission after completing a bandit elimination C-rank mission. When they arrived they saw Pakun there. Hokage-sama, we're here for another mission. We have the requirements for a B-rank mission and I know my students are ready. Tsunade said. Hiruzen looked up and smiled. I'm glad to hear because I have a mission for you. You will back U Team 7 who's currently on a C rank turn to possible A rank. You are in charge of Tsunade. I didn't think they completed the requirements for a C rank mission. Tsunade said. They didn't, but the Uchiha kept complaining and Kakashi thought it would bring the team together. I have no doubt that Sasuke, Sai and Kakashi can handle a C rank, but an A- rank is out of the question. Their teamwork is horrible, Hiruzen said. Tsunade nodded and turned to her students. We'll head home and pack before leaving. Naruto and Mito nodded and they all shunshin out the office. Hiruzen was surprised and smiled. If they had one more teammate, they would be a good replacement for the Sanins. Team 11 was headed out to meet up with Team 7. Tsunade turned to her students with a serious face. Naruto, Mito, these will not be bandits, this will be life or death. Use what you find necessary. I know you want to show off, but this is not a game. Her look then got softer. I don't want to lose you too, follow my every lead. The Genins nodded in seriousness. Naruto didn't want to witness his godmother cry, he knew well about her brother and fiancé. Hi sensei. Both blondes responded. Tsunade smiled and led her team through the forest. Good. No Konoha nin will die today. Tsunade said with confidence. After leaping through trees for a couple hours, they arrive at a scene where Kakashi was trapped in a water prison and there were 3 water clones of Zabuza. The 3 hid in the forest next to the fight. That idiot got himself caught. Naruto-kun, I believe it's time for one of your special jutsus. Tsunade said. On the field Sai and Sasuke were standing in front of 3 eater clones, while Sakura was protecting Tazuna. Naruto soon jumped out in the opening and landed in front of Team 7, surprising said team. Wow Tem, I can't believe you lost to someone with no eyebrows. Zabuza's non-eyebrow twitch, kill the blonde. Zabuza ordered his clones. They all charged Naruto and as soon as they got close, Naruto went through a few hand signs. Shoten Senbons. Naruto said sending orange crystal needles out his body destroying the clones. They weren't that hard. Naruto taunted. Sasuke was teething in jealousy, Sakura was in awe and Sai was analyzing Naruto. That was just luck, Gaki, but it won't happen again. Zabuza said. Naruto smirked. You're right, and by the way, you should pay attention. As Naruto said that, Mito appeared out of the water and kicked Zabuza in the face, separating him from Kakashi. Damn it, I was distracted. Good job you two, but we'll chat later. Zabuza and Kakashi said. Zabuza was about to continue when his body was encased in crystals. Shodan. Susho Ro no Jutsu. Zabuza tried to get out, but then he was struck by two Senbons. A hunter nin jumped out in the open and looked at the Konoha nin. Thank you for distracting him, I've been chasing for a while. This body holds many secrets, I'll dispose of the body, the nin said. Kakashi felt for Zabuza's pulse. He's dead. The hunter nin nodded and was about to disappear until Naruto and Mito approached her. How about I take off his head? Don't want you to get messy. Yeah, allow us. Mito added. The hunter nin disappeared without a trace. Kakashi signed and turned to the blondes. Why are you two here? It's dangerous and you shouldn't be here. Kakashi asked. You're welcome and we're your backup. Now I'd appreciate it if you didn't yell at my students. Kakashi turned to the source and was shocked when he saw Tsunade appear in front of him. Before he could utter another word, he passed out. Stupid fool, passed out from chakra exhaustion. You two boys carry your sensei. Tsunade ordered Sasuke and Sai. Tisk, who are you to order a Uchiha? Get the Dobi to do it. Sasuke responded. Tsunade glared at the boy and tapped the ground, creating quick, scaring Sasuke. Who am I? Your superior, now go. Sasuke and Sai rushed to Kakashi and proceeded to carry him. Tsunade turned to her students and smiled. And you too, good job with the surprise attack and the taunting. Hi sensei. Both blondes responded. Sakura analyzed the woman and noticed a huge resemblance between Mito and her. Tsunade turned to Zuna. You, where do you live? Tazuna flinched after witnessing her strength, he didn't want to piss her off. Not too far from here, please follow me, sorry I didn't get your name. Tsunade notices Tazuna as well as Team 7 staring at her. Where are my manners? I'm Tsunade Senju. One of the three Sanin. Kurenai just sent her team on the way from doing a few D-rank missions. Her team has been improving because of their teamwork, but her relationship with two of her students haven't been well for the past month. Shino has been even more distant since the encounter with the two blondes and only been talking with Hinata. And speaking of the Hyuga heiress, Hinata was treating her with respect like a Jonin sensei, but their mother-daughter bond was gone. What surprised her was the fact that Hinata knew about the Kyuubi. Flashback. What? Kurenai asked. I said I know about Naruto-kun's burden. I overheard some of the clan talking about it. Hinata said. Then you understand why I avoid him. He's too. No. Kurenai was shocked that Hinata not only cut her off but yelled. He's always alone, wanting nothing but love and friends. He's just as dangerous as anyone who could mold chakra. I used my Byakugan to look at his seal. The thing is in a separate pocket space. Their chakra are different. Kurenai didn't know what to say, but after the death of her father, she just couldn't get rid of her worries. Still, I think you should be careful. I care about you, Hinata-chan. And but I will not abandon Naruto-kun. I will stand by his side and change this village and my clan's views. I need to be strong. Hinata said with new determination. Flashback end. Hey Nai-chan. Kurenai snapped out her thoughts and turned to Anko, who sat at the table at their favorite dango place. It's been a while, what got you down in the dumps? Two of my students. There was an incident at Akamichi's barbecue. Kurenai began and explained everything that was going on. Anko smacked her face. Nai-chan, I hate to say this but you up. Anko said. But I was trying to look out for her and I don't hate Naruto-san, I'm just wary of him. Kurenai tried to defend herself. Your train of thought is like the villagers, I'm still surprised you're willing to be my friend. Anko said. Your circumstance and his are different. They're the same. Anko retorted louder than normal. We both were branded by a seal we never wanted or asked for that contains impure chakra, and because of that, we're labeled as outcast by the same people we're willing to give our lives for. Kurenai was speechless. When explained that way, they sound the same. Anko-chan, I'm sorry. Kurenai apologized. I'm not the one you should apologize to. Listen, I love you like a sister, but you're smarter than this. If you don't give Blondie a chance, you will hurt some people around you. You know Yugao cares for him as well, you don't want her to find out about this. I'll go talk to the princess and see what I can do, but think about this. If Foxy really was a monster like these people think, do you think we would still be here? Anko asked before getting up and shunching away. Kurenai thought about what her friend had said and signed. It's not that easy, especially since you died too, San. Anko found Hinata training in Training Ground 8, she could tell the girl was frustrated. To have someone she looks up to hate someone you like. Anko decided to greet the Hyuga princess. Hey princess. Hinata turned to Anko and gave her a confused look. Mitarashi-san, what are you doing here? Cut the formal shit, call me Nei-chan. I always wanted a sister I can take care of. Anyway, I just came from talking to Nei-chan and I hate to see her upset. Hinata turned back to the training post she was striking. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I do not tolerate people treating Naruto-kun like an outcast because of his burden. Anko walked next to Hinata and placed a hand on her shoulder. I know what you mean, it's sad. The kid seems like he could use a few friends. But don't be too hard on Nei-chan, she lost her father during the attack and she can't help but feel resentment. Hinata looked down in guilt. I know, but like I said, Naruto-kun wasn't the cause. He most likely lost his parents during the attack as well, since that was his birthday. He wanted love but received hate. No matter how people feel, they shouldn't put blame on someone who doesn't deserve it. I'll show this village that Naruto-kun is not the monster they think he is and stand by his side. I have to be stronger and can't be soft like my father thinks I am. Anko smiled at the girl. She can be a shy potato, but she got spunk when she needed it. You know what, girl, I like you. How about I help you with your training? You could use a confidence boost and there's no one else that can help you with that but me. Also, your taijutsu is flawed. Hinata tilted her head sideways. How? This is the Hyuga's normal stance. Don't you think I know that? It just seems you're trying to force yourself to stand still rather than it being natural. Did anybody else have a problem with the stance in your family? Hinata's eyes widened when one person came to mind. My mother. She once told me that once I start training, flow like water and not stay rooted like earth. I used to practice a little and her moves seem natural to me. Anko put a finger on her chin, processing what she was told. Hey princess, from what I can get out of that is the standard Juken, an earth-style taijutsu. Yes. Anko nodded and took out a sheet of paper and handed it to Hinata. Pour some chakra into it. Hinata nodded and did as she was instructed. The paper got split and was soaked. Anko whistled. I see your problem. You're a heavy water user, with a slight wind attribute. Your style wasn't meant for earth-style combat. Is it possible to mimic your mother's style? Why yes, she left some scrolls before she passed. Hinata said. Anko nodded. Well, go get them Imoudo and we'll get started. Hinata nodded and left towards her clan house. Anko smirked and turned to the sky. That Uzumaki Gaki better notice this girl feeling before someone snatch him. I wonder. Anko thought. Kakashi groaned as he sat up and looked around. This must be the client's home, but how? You are a fool, you'd know that, right? Kakashi turned to the source and his eyes widened. Tsunade had her arms folded under her and was glaring at him. So it wasn't a dream. Kakashi said. You are back, but why? I returned to the village a while ago, but the most important question is why did you continue this A-rank mission when your genin was not prepared for a C-rank mission? Tsunade asked. I believe my team could handle it. Kakashi responded. Your team, or the Uchiha? Tsunade asked, causing Kakashi to flinch. Don't tell the great copy ninja is afraid of fat dumbasses that think they have power because they're in a chair. Kakashi signed. Anyway, where are the others? Everyone is downstairs except Naruto. I told him to wait at the door until you're awake. Tsunade answered. Naruto, go grab the others and tell them to report the room. Hi sensei. You could hear outside the door before footsteps walked away. Why is Naruto even here? He didn't graduate and he's not ready to be a shinobi. While I don't care for your biased opinion, I'll explain everything when the genin arrives. Tsunade said. Soon the genin arrived and Sasuke glared at Tsunade for humiliating him, but Tsunade returned, causing him to flinch. Now that everyone is here, I'll begin. Hokage sent me as backup to help you on this A-rank mission. We don't need help. I can handle this on my own. Sasuke said arrogantly. You unwanted idiotic opinion is dully noted. Tsunade said, earning an angry stare from Sasuke. Now before I was rudely interrupted. I was sent by the Hokage to assist in the mission and to answer your question, Kakashi. Naruto is part of my team. You two introduce yourself. As you know, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said in a polite tone, surprising Sakura, Sasuke and Kakashi. My name is Mito Senju. I would say it's nice to see you again, but that's a lie. Mito said. Senju. Why do you have the same last name as Tsunade-sama? Sakura asked. Well, she did give birth to me, so I'm pretty sure it's a common thing for me to call her my mom. Mito answered. Team 7 eyes widened. Team Senju had repressed a smirk. They remember their last encounter with the girl. If I remember, Mito told me you called her a brat. Kakashi began to sweat a bit. I also was told about the conversation your genin had with mine, and I know I didn't raise my daughter to be a liar. We will talk later. Yeah, so what's the plan? Kakashi asked. Well, for one, we have to form a plan for when Zabuza returns. Naruto said. What are you talking about, Baka? The hunter nin killed him, or did you forget? Sakura said, trying to sound smart. Before you call someone a Baka, make sure you don't say anything stupid yourself. Mito said with a glare. Obviously he is alive, so shut it, Pinky. Sakura turned to Mito with an annoyed look. What do you mean? Naruto, explain to Haruno, since she clearly doesn't understand. Tsunade ordered. Naruto nodded and turned to Team 7. The hunter was a fraud. There were a couple things that were weird. 1. Instead of kunai, she used senbons. Senbons are rarely used to kill, and she didn't hit any vital points. In fact, she hit a spot around the neck, to put their victim in a death-like state. 2. If she did kill him, Hunter Nin is not required to take the victim's body, just the head. That's why Naruto-kun offered to cut off his head. Mito continued. But the Hunter Nin panicked and left in a hurry. So it's safe to assume that the Hunter Nin works with Zabuza and he will return. Given the injury and the time it takes the body to recover, Team 7 turned back to Naruto. It'll take him a week until he returns. Naruto finished off. Sasuke scoffed. Yeah, right. You probably made all that up. That's right, so stop trying to be cool. Sakura shrieked. Tsunade looked at the two before turning to their sensei. Is everyone on your team a disappointing idiot? Sasuke gritted his teeth at the insult, while Sakura looked hurt by that since she was trying to show off in front of Tsunade. Naruto and Mito are right. Zabuza is alive and will return. So next time, don't open your mouth if you're going to act like a child. I figured as much. Kakashi said. I guess I need to train you guys. What are we going to train in, sensei? Dickless and Ugly need all the help they can get. Sai said. Naruto and Mito were quiet for a while before laughing their asses off. Tsunade was trying to suppress a giggle. Sasuke and Sakura glared at their pale teammate. Meet me in the back in the middle of the woods. Kakashi said. Tsunade narrowed her eyes. He couldn't be teaching them that. There's no way he would bring Genin on a C-rank mission without teaching them that. Team 7 was seated on the ground, while Team Senju was on the side, leaning against a tree. So Kakashi-sensei, what are you going to teach us? Sakura asked. Kakashi gave them an eye smile. Tree climbing. Kakashi answered, expecting to be excited. He saw the confused look on his team, except Sai, but to his shock, Tsunade and her students were looking at him disappointedly. But Kakashi-sensei, we learn how to climb trees in the academy. Sakura said. Ah, but can you do it with? You gotta be kidding me. Kakashi was cut off by Tsunade. What's the matter, Tsunade-sama? What's the matter? You brought your team out here and they don't know the tree climbing exercise. So far, since I met your team, it's been nothing but disappointment. Tsunade answered. So, I doubt the Dobi can do it. Sasuke said. Tsunade gave the Uchiha a challenging smirk and snapped her fingers. Naruto and Mito ran up the tree until they reached the top and picked a branch, then walked under it, standing upside down. They earned a jealousy sneer from the emo, a shocked look from Pinky and a neutral expression from the root operative. You see, now stop acting like you know everything. I'm a medic, you don't think I would teach my team the basics? Mito, Naruto, come with me, Tsunade ordered. Sasuke was glaring at the Senju, no one humiliated him multiple times in one day. Alright, I want you to spar on top of the lake. Jutsu is allowed. When I say stop, it's over. Tsunade said, standing on top of the lake in between her students. Now ready, begin. Tsunade jumped away as her students charged each other. Mito went for the first strike, throwing a punch towards her fellow blonde. Naruto placed his palm on her arm and used it to push himself over Mito. Mito turned around and went in for a round kick, but Naruto grabbed her leg and tossed her in the air. Mito collected herself in the air and went through some hand signs. Fire style. Dragon flame jutsu. She shot a fireball at Naruto. She was shocked when it hit, creating a smoke screen of steam. Mito narrowed her eyes, waiting for the steam to disappear. When it did, Naruto was gone. She looked around for him, and as she did, Naruto came out the water behind her and went for a punch. Mito, without looking, grabbed his arm and slammed him on his back against the water. She went for an axe kick and slammed her foot on Naruto's chest. But to her surprise, he went up in smoke, meaning he was a clone. Another Naruto came out of the water and kicked her under the chin, sending her into the air, and two more came up after that. Uzumaki barrage. Both Narutos said, drop-kicking Mito into the water, so Naruto released the clones. Mito shot out the water and rushed Naruto. Soon, both of them began to trade blows with punches and kicks, moving at mid-chunin speed. Match is over. Tsunade called. Both blondes stopped and smiled at each other. Tsunade approached the two. You two are getting stronger every day, I'm proud. Thanks, sensei. Both genin replied. Team Senju walked back to see Sasuke struggling and Sakura sitting on a branch. Kakashi was reading a book watching them, then turned to Tsunade. Hey, how was the training? Fine. They both improved but can work some things. Not surprising, considering Naruto was the dead last. Kakashi commented. Tsunade narrowed her eyes. I don't want to hear that from someone with the weakest student on their team. But Naruto is on your team, Tsunade-sensei. Sakura said from the branch. I was talking about you, girl. Speaking of. Tell me, why did you stop practicing the tree climbing exercise? Tsunade asked. Because I did it on the first try. And I'm stronger than Naruto, Sakura said with confidence. Really? How about a spar then? You versus Naruto, your choice. Sakura flinched and glanced at the blonde. If she was honest, she didn't think she could beat the blonde, but he has a crush on her. So maybe she can get a free win. Sure, I'll beat the baka. Sakura said, jumping down from the tree. We'll kick that idiot and show Sasuke-kun how strong we are. Naruto walked across from her and stood there with a bored look, hands in his pocket. Ladies first. Naruto taunted. Sakura charged him with genin speed. She threw a punch at the blonde, but he tilted his head, avoiding it. He kneed the pinkett in the stomach, causing her to cough up air and pass out. I thought so. Come on, you two. We're going back to the house. Tsunade said to her students before turning to Kakashi. Kakashi, when that girl gets up, make her repeat the exercise. Kami knows she needs to increase her reserves. Your team is not ready for even a C rank, let alone an A- rank. Here you are, Tsunami said, handing Team Senju and Team 7 their dinner. Thanks for the hospitality. No problem. Thank you for protecting us. Tsunami said. Of course, it's our pleasure. We can't just let that fat snob do what he wants. Naruto said. Why do you even try? Inari asked, coming down the stairs. What do you mean? Mito asked. Gato is too strong, you're going to die. Inari said. Don't worry, Inari. We're here to stop him. Naruto said. Shut up. Look at you acting so happy. You don't know anything about real suffering. Naruto's eyes widen as images of his past flood his mind. Everyone started to notice his ki rising to uncontrollable levels. Don't know suffering. I know everything. He was cut off when he felt a pair of arms wrapped around him. He turned around and saw Mito hugging with a concerned look. He took a deep breath and walked out the door. Inari-chan, was it? Inari looked at Tsunade and was shocked by her crying. No one knows suffering more than Naruto. His parents died the moment he was born, and soon after, people were trying to execute him for reasons I cannot say. When he was 4, he was kicked out of the orphanage and living on the street. Our leader managed to buy him an apartment in the Red District, where criminals live after leaving prison. People started to break into his house and try to take his life. Every time he went to the store, he got overcharged for rotten food. Everyone hated him, and no matter how hard he tried, he was ignored and despised. I was told he ate out of a garbage can before. Now, even though he went through all that, the difference between you two is that he does not give up. All the women were crying, and Kakashi looked down in shame, and Sakura gasped, holding her hand over mouth. Sasuke and Sai were the only ones neutral about what they heard. Inari ran upstairs. Kakashi-sensei, is that all true? Sakura asked. Yes, it's true. Sakura turned to Tsunade. I saw his medical record. He was hospitalized 10 times a year until he was 6. He was then able to avoid the people. You all called Naruto a dead last, but that's not true. In fact, all of those instructors at the academy beside Iruka are dumbasses. Their hate for the boy causes them to ignore him and sabotage him so he could fail. Did you know he was supposed to be on your team? Tsunade asked. Sakura eyes widened and shook her head. But the council replaced him out of fear, but I'll say that's the only thing done right. Seeing how your sensei can't properly train his own students, I'm glad to have Naruto on my team. Come on, Mito, We're going to train. Naruto was laying on a field on grass and herbs, looking up at the sky. He was bothered about Inari's words, but he realized the boy was just a kid and he wasn't used to losing someone they cared about. Hello, are you okay? Naruto turned his head to the source of the voice and saw a beautiful girl looking at him with a concerned look. I'm fine, thanks for asking. The girl gave him a warm smile. Haku, my name is Haku. I'm Naruto, what are you doing out here? I'm picking herbs for someone. Haku answered, but for some reason, she started to fidget and grab the back of her neck. Are you okay? Naruto asked. Haku looked at the blonde and nodded. I'm fine. So Naruto-kun, are you a shinobi? Yeah, that's right. Then what's your purpose? Haku asked. My purpose? I want to be strong to protect my precious people and to become Hokage. I believe true strength comes from the drive to protect others. I'm motivated to get stronger every day so I can never feel alone again. Naruto said. Haku said nothing as she absorbed Naruto's words. Remember, Haku-chan, you get strong, not because of your bloodline but to protect those you care about. Huh, those words. Ka-chan, remember Haku, strength comes from being ruthless, we're shinobi. It'd kill or be killed, and as my tool, you will work for me. Haku grabbed her head. Haku-chan. Zabuza, please don't hurt my daughter. I'm not going to hurt her. After all, she's mine now. Now say your last words before you die. I remember. He killed my parents. Ah. Haku screamed in pain. Naruto was confused until she saw a seal glow on her neck. Naruto rushed to Haku and analyzed the seal. A slave and memory suppress seal. Naruto bit his thumb and spread some blood and covered the seals. Release. Seal purge. Naruto blood started to overwrite the seal and destroy it. Haku stopped screaming and began to cry. Zabuza killed my parents. He sealed my memories because he wanted my bloodline to overthrow the Mizukage and told me my father killed my mother because of the purge. Naruto gritted his teeth in anger and started to release some ki, startling Haku. Naruto noticed this and quickly stopped. Sorry, it's just, I never knew my parents and my village tried to make me a weapon by making the village hate me. To hear something like that happen, I can't help but relate. We're not tools or weapons. We are people who deserve to be happy. I appreciate that, but I don't know where to go. I don't want to return to that man, but if I don't, he'll hunt me down. Plus, even if I can beat him, I'll be alone in the wild, and with my bloodline, I'm sure people will try to capture me. Then come with me. Haku's eyes widened at Naruto's words. I know we just met, but we can be friends if you want. Haku smiled but then frowned. But I heard of Konoha and their value for bloodlines. Wouldn't they put me in CRA and try to duplicate it? Naruto shook his head. Maybe, but I can put you under my clan's protection. You mean as a servant? Haku asked. More like adoption. Naruto said. If he adopts me into the clan, I won't be able to. Is there another clan I can adopt into? Haku asked with a blush. Well, there's my sensei's clan. She's from the Senju clan. Naruto said. By any chance, is it Tsunade? Naruto nodded. Haku squealed and grabbed his hands. She is the greatest medic in the world. I'll let you meet her, but we have to do something about Zabuza. Naruto said. Haku thought about it and looked at the herbs. I have an idea. Can you do me a favor? Inform Tsunade-san. I see. I gotta hand it to you, Naruto. You not only got someone to sabotage Zabuza, but you were able to secure my clan a new bloodline. Tsunade said. Naruto just told her and Mito what happened. Tsunade left Team 7 out of it because they lacked poor asked. But how should we go about this without being suspicious? Mito asked. We'll let Kakashi fight Zabuza. I'm pretty sure Haku can fight Sasuke and win without killing him. But if things get too far, You or Naruto will jump in. Tsunade said. But what if Gato attacks the house? Naruto asked. Then Naruto. You'll stay behind just in case and we'll handle the rest. Tsunade instructed. Get some sleep and prepare for tomorrow. Hi sensei. Both genin replied. Tazuna, along with Team 7 and Mito was on the bridge, while Tsunade decided to hide since Zabuza wasn't aware of her arrival on the mission. Soon mist started to surround, signaling the fight was about to begin. He's here, Kakashi said. Well Kakashi, I'm surprised to see you showed up after I've beaten you before. Even quivering in fear of me. Zabuza said, making an appearance, alongside Haku. I'm quivering in excitement, Sasuke said, charging forward towards Haku. Haku, go. Haku nodded and charged forward. Mito stood by Sakura, guarding Tazuna. Mito was using this fight to see how strong the two were. From what she could sense, Haku was stronger, and from what she was seeing, Haku was faster. Sasuke had to use chakra to keep up, and soon he would run out unless Haku started using some of her chakra. It was a good thing Haku just needed to match Sasuke until the Cyclops wore Zabuza out. 10 minutes after the fight started, Sasuke began to struggle once Haku created her mirrors. Sasuke managed to activate his Sharingan, but it was doing him little effort. Mito wasn't sure if she should jump in to throw off suspicion or stay with Tazuna. The emo is all talk, if I help him it'll damage his ego. Yo. Mito snapped out her thoughts and turned to Naruto, who arrived. How's the Tem doing? Don't call him that. Sakura yelled in anger. Shut it, Pinky. Mito yelled back, causing Sakura to flinch. Mito sighs and turns to Naruto. He's getting his handed to him, even though he unlocked it. Naruto nodded and ran towards the ice mirrors. Well, that Naruto-kun is over. The mission is over. Mito commented. What can that baka do? Sakura asked. More than you and the Uchiha combine, you weak fangirl. Mito answered. Sasuke was breathing hard as he struggled against Haku. How could he, a Uchiha, lose to someone lesser than him? I grow bored of this. It's time to end this. End this. You can't beat me. Alright, it's time for me to tag in. Sasuke heard before blacking out by Naruto. Haku sighed in relief. Finally you have arrived. He was becoming a nuisance. Uchiha. I'm an elite. I never met anyone so obnoxious. Haku said, stepping out the mirror. Yeah, he believed what the council told him, even though they knew nothing about being a shinobi. Naruto replied. So what now? Haku turned to the fog. Well, no one can see us anymore because of the fog. So I suggest we wait until Zabuza dies. I'm fine with that, after we can kill that tubby midget Gato and end things. Naruto said. Actually Naruto-kun, I'm interested in your abilities. How about a small spar to pass the time? Haku asked. Sure. Naruto said, popping out a soldier pill and giving it to Haku. So it'll be fair. Haku nodded and ate the pill. Do you prefer me in the mirrors? Sure. It'll be interesting that way. Naruto replied. Haku walked into one of the mirrors and ready a Senbon. She threw some Senbons at Naruto, but Naruto parried it with a kunai. Haku went to another mirror and threw some more Senbons towards the blonde, but he dodged its. Your reaction time is amazing and your movements are not wasted. Soon multiple copies of Haku appeared in every mirror, all aiming Senbons at Naruto. Let's see how you deal with this. Haku said as every cop threw the Senbons at Naruto. She was confused when Naruto didn't try to dodge but was shocked that the Senbons bounced off him like nothing. When the Senbons hit his skin, it sounded like it hit something hard. You see, Haku-chan. I have a similar ability. Naruto said, holding up his hand. He created a crystal, surprising the ice user. Did you create orange ice? Haku asked. This isn't ice, This is a crystal. Naruto said. Crystal torpedoes. Naruto create multiple crystal torpedoes and destroyed every crystal mirror but the one Haku was in. I see, so the reason you weren't hurt from my attack was because you were wearing crystal armor. Haku deduced. Exactly, so you might as well come out of the mirror. Naruto suggested. It's fine, after all. Zabuza should be dead soon. I sense his chakra going down and a concentrated power of chakra coming from the copy nin. Haku said, looking towards the direction Zabuza was. Should we make an appearance? I guess, I would love to see Mummy Man's face when you tell him the seal was removed. Naruto said. Haku nodded as she stepped in her mirror and disappeared. Naruto's boy was covered in crystal before it shattered, him disappearing alongside his new friend. Haku, where are you? Zabuza yelled. He was pinned down by Kakashi's hounds. Haku, I order you to get your here. An ice mirror appeared next to the Kiri swordsman. Zabuza sighed in relief but it turned to confusion when he saw the cold look Haku was giving him. Hello Zabuza-san. Haku, why are you just standing there? Help me. Zabuza ordered. Kakashi was waiting. If Haku was her, what would have happened to Sasuke? He snapped out his thoughts when a crystal triangle appeared next to Haku and broke, revealing Naruto. Got to work on that. Naruto said before turning his attention to the two Jonin. Het Kakashi-sensei, no brows. Naruto, what's going on? Why are you with the enemy? Well, you know, ate some cookies, had a spar, oh. Did I mention I removed a slave seal from Haku-chan? Naruto answered jokingly. Zabuza's eyes widened when he heard that and turned to Haku, who looked like she was ready to kill him. You killed my parents and kidnapped me. Lied to me, I trusted you but now I'm free, you will die. Zabuza chuckled. I see, well, what are you waiting for? Haku turned to Kakashi, asking permission. Kakashi nodded and stepped back. Haku created an ice Senbon and approached Zabuza from behind. For my parents, she said as she stabbed the back of his neck and poured some ice shards in his body. Soon ice spike appeared through Zabuza's body, killing him. Haku just stared at the body, then turned to Naruto and went to hug him. What do we have here? Looks like the demon of the mist was killed by his unloyal pet. Gato, why are you here? Haku asked, still in Naruto's arms. Well, I came here to kill Zabuza and the rest of your little squad after you tired out. Rogue shinobi are so expensive and my boys here are cheaper. Gato answered with an evil grin as he looked at Haku, then Mito and Sakura. But I might just take the girls, especially the one in your arms and the blonde one. I could use a little fun. Naruto was about to charge Gato until he felt heavy killer intent. Well midget, there are two things wrong with your plan. Oh, and what is that brat? 1. You have to make sure that your enemies are weakened before making threats like that because, Mio appeared next to Naruto in a shunshin. Mito-chan here hasn't fought yet and I wouldn't underestimate her. And what's the other? Gato asked. Never threaten to rape a girl, especially in front of her mother. Naruto said, looking behind Gato. Gato and eyebrow in turned around and started to sweat when Tsunade was standing behind him glaring at him, chakra flaring. Tsunade grabbed the midget by his throat and lifted him in the air. Hello there, my name is Tsunade Senju, mother of the blonde you threatened to rape. Gato started to panic. Who hasn't heard of the legendary Sanin? Guys, why are you just standing there? There's only one of her and 30 of you. Naru-kun, Mito-chan and Haku-san. May you dispatch these thugs? Tsunade asked, still glaring at Gato. Hi. The three replied, disappearing in a blur. Naruto made crystal kunai and started slitting a lot of the bandits' throats. Haku created ice and bonds and started to hit some of them in vital points. Mito used her super strength to crush most of their skulls and ribs. Kakashi was surprised at the speed and strength of Mito, but especially Naruto. Sakura had the same thought as she watched Tsunade's team kill the bandits. She had to admit, she was afraid of taking a life, but to see Jonin her age do it made her feel useless. Now for you, Tsunade said. Gato turned to her and started to panic. Please don't kill me. I'll do anything. Gato begged. Really? Tsunade asked before throwing Gato on the ground. Then die. Tsunade lifts her leg up high before slamming onto Gato's skull, crushing it. No one threatens to rape my daughter. I approve. The Hokage said. Haku Yuki, you are now part of Team Senju. I hope you accomplish great things in the future. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Haku responded. She turned to her new team and smiled. Well, good work Team 7 and Team Senju. You have a week break from missions. And Haku, welcome to the village. Hiruzen said. Team 7 left but Team 7 stayed. Anything else you need? Yes, I would like to invoke the CRA on Naruto-kun. Tsunade said, shocking the group. What? Why would you do that? Naruto asked, while blushing. Because I know how the council thinks and I have a feeling that once they find out about my team bloodline, they'll try to pair them with the Uchiha. Tsunade said, making Hiruzen nodded. But does this have to do with Naruto-kun? Hiruzen asked. Please, both of these girls have a crush on Naru-kun. I noticed, and if they are involved with someone in the CRA, the council can't do shit. Tsunade said. Wait, sensei. Don't just assume the girls want to marry me. You need their consent. I don't mind, Naruto-kun. Mito said. Me either, you saved me and you have a gentle soul. I would be honored. Haku said. Naruto just stared at the two and his face turned red. Haku looked down in sadness and pretended like she was going to cry. Are we not good enough, Naruto-kun? We really like you. Mito added, acting sad. What? You are too good. You two are beautiful and very strong. Any guy would be lucky to go out with girls like you. Naruto said, instinctively. The two girls blushed and steam came out their heads. Tsunade smirked at this. See, what did I tell you? It'll also protect the girls, Naru-chan. She's right, Naruto-kun. The council will try to force a marriage on the girls. Hiruzen said. Now is there anyone else you would like to add? Naruto started with a blush. Is Shizune-chan available? I know she's 7 years older than me, but she's really nice to me and I always feel calm around her. Hiruzen and Tsunade looked at each other before chuckling. I see. Well, Shizune never found any guy she was interested in, but I always saw her happy around you. She might be interested. Tsunade said. Great. You four are dismissed and have a week break. Tsunade and her students bowed before leaving the office. How about we go get something to eat? My treat. Naruto offered. Ah, Naru-chan is being a gentleman. How kind of you. Tsunade complimented. Well, if I'm going to be their husband, I should make sure my wives are happy, right? Naruto commented, making Mito and Haku blush. How about some barbecue this time? Last time we got interrupted by the others. Mito suggested. I'm not sure. Sasuke and Sakura might make a fuss if they're there. Naruto said. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. We're here with you. Haku said. And if they try something with me around. Tsunade stomped the ground, creating a crater. Well, let's say it won't be easy for you. Naruto chuckled nervously and they entered the restaurant, and to Mito's and Naruto's dismay, Team 10 and Team 8 were there. Hey Hinata, Shino-san and Choji-san. Mito called, as her team sat down. Hinata looked to see who called her name and she smiled when she saw Mito and her crush. Good even Mito-san. What are you guys doing here? Kiba asked. What everyone else does here, we're eating. Naruto answered. Well, you're not wanted here, after last time. Kiba said. Really? I could have sworn that you were the one who made fun of Naruto-kun, you arrogant asshole. Mito said, earning a glare from Kiba. Watch how you talk to people, young lady. Kurenai chased. And you better watch how you talk to my daughter, Yuhi-san. Tsunade said, gaining everyone's attention. Tsunade-sama. Wait. Did you say your daughter? Asuma said, sweating. Yes, and I remember everything she told me from your last encounter, and I have to say you all are not on my good people list except Hinata-san, Choji-san and Shino-san. Really? Picking on Naruto because of his status. You two bring shame to my grandfather and the Uzumaki clan. Tsunade spat. Who are you to talk about our senseis like that? Kiba asked. And you call Naruto a dead last? I'm one of the 3 Sannin and a cage lever kunoichi trained by the old man. Tsunade answered, making Kiba pale. And just to let you know, Naruto is my distant cousin and you insulting him, insults me. Tsunade said in anger. Calm down, Tsunade-sama. We were just making sure Naruto acts mature. Kurenai tried to explain. And you call the boy here mature? He makes fun of Naruto every chance he gets, and I heard how he hit on my daughter. In fact, he's been staring at Haku's and Mito's chest this whole time. Tsunade said, making Kiba blush in embarrassment. You guys look at things as if they were a blank sheet of paper. How much do you actually know about Naruto, besides what the people around you tell you? Nothing. You just judge by appearance and to think the two of you are Jonin. We know he's not ready to be a genin, and he's brash. Asuma said. Right, Kurenai. Kurenai looked down in shame and remembered what Anko and Hinata said about the blonde. To be honest, she didn't know anything about him at all. She needed to move from her father's death. You're right, I was quick to judge. Kurenai said, surprising everyone but mostly Naruto. Hinata smiled at this. Kurenai looks at Naruto and drags him outside of the restaurant to speak with him alone. Naruto, I would like to take you out tonight. Naruto blushes but turns neutral. Why? What's your game? I figure I can get to know you more. If I want to move on, I figure hanging out together with just the two of us will do some good. I'll even pay. Tsunade-sama, Anko and Hinata see something in you and I want to let go of my grudge. Kurenai said, sincerely. Naruto's eyes widened and smile. Really? Well, sure. We can hang out and I'll let you pick out the place. Kurenai gave a small smile. Thank you, guess I'll see you later. She said, walking away. Tsunade and his team walked out and saw Naruto in a daze. Naruto, what happened? Tsunade asked. Naruto turned to Tsunade and gave a nervous smile. I think I got a date. The 3 females' jaws dropped when they heard this. Why are you doing this? Asuma asked. I need to move past this. I can't let what I want to believe dictate what is true. Kurenai said. But you're going on a date with Jonin. Asuma said with irritation. Why are you mad about this? We broke up anyway, plus this is now a romantic date. I just want to find out who is Naruto Uzumaki and see if he's the person Anko and Hinata say he is. Kurenai said, preparing to walk out the door. Naruto should be here. Won't you give me another chance? Asuma asked. No. You cheated on me and tried to use your father's status to say it was in your right. I forgave you, but I won't go back out with you. Kurenai said as she left the door. Asuma just stood there, looking down in shame. Huh, I really messed up. Asuma said. Naruto and Kurenai were sitting on the Hokage head, Naruto's favorite spot, looking over the village at night. Naruto made a simple picnic which surprised and oddly satisfied Kurenai, especially since she offered to pay. Whenever she went on a date, guys always tried to treat her to a fancy restaurant to impress her. She actually appreciated this. This was a lovely date, Naruto-kun. Thanks, I wanted to keep things simple. Naruto responded as they stared over the village. Got anything to ask? A couple questions if you don't mind. Kurenai said, earning a nod from Naruto. The floor is yours. Naruto said. First, why do you want to be Hokage? With how the village sees you, I thought you would hate this place. Kurenai said. It's easy to hate but it's hard to forgive. I am not going to justify the village action towards me but I will try to understand their point of view. A huge fox just attacked the village, then you're told a small boy holds it. It's hard to ignore, don't you think? Naruto said, chuckling. At first I wanted to be Hokage for recognition but now I want to show the village that I will go far to protect the village, even with me being a Jinchuriki. I'll take on their pain and fear and shoulder it if that's what it takes because I never back down. Kurenai just stared at the blonde and couldn't help but smile. I see what the girls see in you. The Hokages always speak of the will of fire and I think I see it in you. Naruto-kun, you proved me wrong and I'm happy you did. You are not the Kyuubi and not influenced by it. I'll help you and support you every step of the way. Kurenai said, and pecked the blonde on the cheek. Naruto blushed and gave her his foxy smile. Thank you, Kurenai-sensei. Don't call me sensei while we are on a date. Kurenai chassled. Kurenai, Naruto said. Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out a crystal rose. Here, I got you something. Kurenai blushed. You know how to make a woman feel special. Kurenai teased as the two finished their meal. Kurenai didn't want to admit it but Naruto was worming his way into her heart. A week later. Alright you three, I know you three are on break from your mission but we're still going to train. In a month, the Chunin exam will begin and I will nominate you three. For your training, I want you three to expand on your bloodlines and come up with a combination between you three and also for you, Naruto-kun. I want you to create an A- rank jutsu for your bloodline like Haku and Mito-chan. Huh, Mito-chan, you have an A- rank wood jutsu? Naruto asked. Yeah, it's from Hashirama Jij. I didn't create it. Mito said. Naruto nodded and frowned. Let's see. Haku-chan creates mirrors she goes in. I have no clue what Mito-chan is. Let's see. Crystals are hard to destroy and they reflect images. You can shape them to almost anything and they can trap. Wait, I got it. Naruto thought before smiling. You came up with something? Tsunade asked. Yeah, and it's going to require a lot of chakra. To be honest, I might have to use the Kyuubi's chakra if he allows it. Naruto said. Tsunade an eyebrow. What's the idea? Naruto approached his sensei and whispered in her ear, making her smile. That's actually a good idea. In fact, there's a genjutsu I can teach you to help improve that jutsu idea. Tsunade said. Naruto nodded. What's the idea? Haku asked, with Mito nodding. It's a surprise. Naruto said, making the girls pout. Naruto just chuckled at their faces. You're making up to us later. Mito said, with Haku nodding in agreement. We're going shopping. Naruto blinked before dashing away with the two kunoichis chasing after him. Now I called you here to discuss the Chunin exams. You are welcome to nominate your teams, so speak up. Hiruzen said, smoking his pipe. I, Kakashi Hatake, nominate Team 7 Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha and Sai. Kakashi said. I, Kurenai Yuhi, nominate Team 8 Hinata Hyuga, ShinobiHarem and Kiba Inuzuka. Kurenai said. I, Asuma Sarutobi, nominate Team 10 Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akamaiki. Asuma said. I, the youthful Might Guy, nominate Team Guy Rock Lee, Tenten Higurashi and Neji Hyuga. Guy said, giving his thumbs up. I, Tsunade Senju, nominates Team Naruto, consisting of Mito Senju, Haku Yuki and Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade said, folding her arms. Hold up, none of the new genins already and I should know. I taught them. Iruka protested. While I disagree with you, I do believe Naruto should wait. Kakashi said. Really? Tsunade said, gaining everyone's attention. Should I remind you of who completed your mission, how I taught my students both chakra control exercises before you taught your team one and how your team has horrible teamwork? Right now, Naruto is on elemental manipulation. What is Sakura on since she's your weakest student? Tsunade questioned, making Kakashi gulp. I agree with Tsunade-sama. After getting to Naruto-kun, he showed a fair amount of intelligence and I believe with the support of his team, he can make Chunin. Kurenai said, shocking Kakashi and a seething Asuma. Well, I'm not sure, he was the dead last of his class. Asuma said. That's because his instructor was arrogant and couldn't ignore the fox in him. Iruka even ignored him for a while. I guarantee that there's no genin that can beat him unless he faces a Jinchuriki. Tsunade said before grabbing the forms and turning around. I'll take my leave. Asuma turned to Kurenai, giving her a confused look. Kurenai, what's going on with you? I grew up, Asuma. Kurenai replied. I got to know Naruto-kun and I'm not ashamed to admit I was wrong about wrong. Kurenai said before leaving. Tsunade was standing between her students with a smirk, so she decided to get some last-minute training. Naruto looked at Mito and Haku, nodding at them. Haku charged Tsunade, creating kunai made of ice and swiping at Tsunade. Impressive, your speed in your creation increased. Also, charging in first was smart since you're the fastest. Tsunade said as she dodged Haku's attacks before jumping in the air, dodged some wood tentacles. Nice try, daughter of mine. Sneak attacks are effective if your opponent is distracted enough. And Naruto-kun, Tsunade said as she turned around and saw 3 Narutos diving at her. One of them tried to kick her but she grabbed his leg and slammed him in the other. To her surprise, all of them poofed away. They were all clones. Tsunade landed on the ground, searching for her male student. Headhunter Jutsu. Tsunade felt something grab her legs, and pulled her underground with her head sticking out. Tsunade felt chakra building up and turned to her other students. She saw Haku doing a bird seal and Mito doing a tiger seal. They're combining a wind and a fire jutsu. Not bad at all. Tsunade thought before jumping out the hole and forming an earth wall around her, protecting her from their attacks. Naruto jumped out the hole and landed next to Mito. Good job you 3, it seems I made the right choice when I nominated you 3 for the exam. Thanks, sensei. The 3 responded with a bow. Now then, there's a few things I want you to do when you enter the Chunin exam. Tsunade said before giving Naruto a list. Can you do this? Naruto looked at the list and smirked. Oh yeah, it might take a while but it shouldn't be too hard. But why do you want us to do this? It'll retain the element of surprise and with the seals you're going to make, it'll make it even better. Tsunade said with a smirk. Now you 3 head out and relax, I'm going to the bar with Shizune. Don't get too drunk, Ka-chan. Mito scolded. You're only saying that because you haven't drunk yet. Tsunade said before walking away. How about we do some last-minute supply shopping and get something to eat? Mito suggested. Yeah, what do you girls want? Naruto paused when he saw Konohamaru running from the Sakura. What did the brat do now? Who was that? Naruto-sama. Haku asked. That was my self-proclaimed student. As to why Sakura is chasing him, I assume he was looking for me and she insulted me, resulting in him insulting her. Naruto answered. Let's go stop them. Mito laughed and Haku chuckled as they chased after Konohamaru. They jumped on the roof as they followed the picket. Haku's eyes widened and she halted her step. Naruto-sama, Mito-san. I sense the Uchiha in the tree alongside a large amount of chakra. Haku said as they landed on a roof and saw Konohamaru being held by a sand nin. I also sense 3 presents in the tree in the distance. Naruto said. So what's the plan? Mito asked. I'll confront the sand shinobi in the front. Mito-chan can embarrass the Uchiha and Haku can say hello to the 3 extras. Naruto suggested. The girls nodded and they all disappeared from the roof. Hey cat, thingy, put the boy down or else. Everyone turned to see Naruto standing in front of Sakura with his hand in his pocket. Moegi had hearts in her eyes when she spotted Naruto. Oh, look at this hottie. Temari thought as she licked her lips at the blonde. Great, another pest. Kankuro said and smirked at the blonde. Why don't you make me, brat? Naruto smirked. Fine, have it your way. Kankuro was waiting until he felt someone grab his arm and pinned him to the ground. He looked over his shoulder and was shocked to see Naruto holding his arm with his foot on his back. There's 2 of you. A clone. Impressive, the speed of the jutsu is something. Temari said, chuckling at Kankuro position. You know I saved you. Naruto said, confusing the puppet user. That boy you were trying to embarrass is the grandson of the Hokage. Temari gasped before glaring at her brother. Damn it, Kankuro. You almost got us in trouble because of an accident. At least she understands. Naruto said as his clone disappeared. Sasuke was on a tree branch, gritting his teeth in jealousy. How is this loser so strong? Wow, I can feel your jealousy. It's too bad you'll never be as good as him. Sasuke's eyes widened and looked up, seeing Mito standing upside down on a branch above him. When did you get here? Sasuke asked. You need to pay attention, I'm not the only one here. Mito said as her eyes looked under Sasuke. Sasuke followed and saw a red head standing upside down. Sasuke jumped out of the tree and stared at the redhead. I couldn't even sense him. Sand formed around the redhead and he reappeared next to his team, glaring at Kankuro. Kankuro, did you forget why we are here? Gaara, enough. Step out of line again and I'll end you. Gaara said before turning to Sand and reforming next to Kankuro. I'm sorry for my teammate's action. Naruto smiled and waved it off. It's fine. Mito appeared next to her fellow blonde and folded her arms. I'm guessing you 3 are here for the Chunin exams. That's right. Gaara answered and looked at the 2 blondes. Are you 2 entering as well? Yes, and so is our other teammate. Naruto said, looking past the sand trio. Temari looked behind her and saw 3 sound shinobi jumped out of a tree and Haku followed suit. How did this bitch get behind us? Zaku asked. Hey. The 3 turned to Naruto, who had red slit eyes. I would watch who you insult or you'll end up in the ground. The blonde said, raising his ki. Haku blushed before disappearing, then reappearing next to her teammates. Gaara smirked at Naruto. Yes, you are interesting. Temari smirked at Naruto. He's strong all right, if he survives Gaara. Maybe I can get to know him more. I see, you are a Jinchuriki. Naruto said, shocking the Sand Trio and Sound Trio. That doesn't matter, if we fight. You are losing. Gaara just smiled. I'll see you in the exams. Gaara turned around and walked away. I'll see you later, Naruto-kun. Temari said with a wink. The Sand Trio walked past the Sound team without a gaze. You 3, Mito called out to the Sound Shinobi. I understand you want to learn more about your opponents, but next time, don't get caught. So you knew we were there? Dosu asked, turning around. We all did. Naruto-kun was the first to detect you. Haku answered. The 3 turned to Naruto. We look forward to the exams, but if you face us, you'll die. Dosu said as he and Zaku turned around to leave. Kin just stared at the blonde boy before turning around. He's kinda hot, Kin thought as she left. Naruto turned to Konohamaru. How are you? Naruto asked his student. I'm great, thanks boss. Konohamaru responded. Moegi just stared at the three with admiration and Udon just stared at the blonde. You three should go, we have to prepare for the exam. Naruto instructed. Right. See ya boss. Konohamaru said as the three academy students left. Mito smirked at the kids before frowning at Team 7. Now then, I hope you two are not entering the exams. Mito commented. Why is that? Sasuke asked, glaring at the Senju heir. From what I witness, you are not ready. You'll just embarrass the village further. Haku said. You are quick to anger. Haruno is weaker than an academy student and Sai is doing things and doesn't trust you. You don't act like a team. But if you do enter, prepare to lose. Naruto said as the tree disappeared in a sub-element Shushin. Sasuke just glared at the spot they were standing at before turning around, walking back to his house. He was going to show the world it was meant to go up against him and put Naruto in his place.